This is the Young Outback Trucker. Thank you for taking the time to watch my first video, and I hope this information helps people like yourself make the move like I did, and sort of clears out the jargon online and gives you a clear guide on what to do and how to get your truck licenses in Australia. Just a quick introduction to who I am. So I'm a young British truck driver. I've got my Class 1 and 2 licence. I've had my Class 2 since June 2021 and my Class 1 since November 2021. So I started out delivering to shops with a big UK carrier, sort of like chilled deliveries, multi-drop in a Class 2 32-tonne rigid lorry. And I did that until I gained my Class 1 licence, which is when I moved into general haulage, delivering sort of general freight, long distance around the UK, nighting out in the wagon, got my own lorry, really good company to work for. And then my uncle, who worked for a big UK dairy company, mentioned that there was a job going in tanker logistics at his place, as he's also a tanker driver, which involved driving articulated farm trucks to farmyards, picking up milk and delivering them to manufacturing sites for the company throughout the UK. So yeah, before I came to Australia, that's what I did truck driving wise in my background. So I'm still fairly new to the industry, but when I was younger, I used to watch Outback Truckers, and I've always loved truck driving and everything about trucks, so it was an obvious move for myself. But after a lot of Googling online, I wasn't sure how to do it, so I just thought, apply for the visa, get myself over to Australia, and see where it goes from there. So I'll give you a step-by-step guide on how I've done it so far, and how I've acquired first my HC, which is the equivalent to a UK Class 1 licence, and then how I acquired my MC, which is the road train licence in Australia, and I think is the biggest truck anywhere you can drive in the world in terms of length, unless it's obviously a crazy oversized load somewhere. Step 1. Apply for your 417 working holiday visa. This is a visa that allows people aged 18 to 32, and in some countries, including the United Kingdom, 35, a visa to work in Australia in order to fund your travels around the country. So you need to apply for that online via the Australian government website. The visa itself costs around $500, the price when I applied for it, and you need to be able to prove that you have 5,000 Australian dollars available in your bank account. This equates to around 2,500 Great British pounds at the time of this video. There is a work limitation. You can only work with one employer for 6 months at one time, so you cannot work for longer than 6 months with one employer, which is good as it enables you to experience different businesses and travel around the country whilst funding your travels. Step 2. Converting your international driving licence into an Australian state licence. So I hold the full manual UK car licence as well as my Class 1 and Class 2. I visited the Department of Transport to exchange my licence. You need to take with you 2 bank cards, form of ID, passport, UK driving licence, and also a utility statement. You need to reach a certain points criteria to prove who you are in Australia. So I converted my driving licence and then explained that I wanted to take my HC licence. Now, because I've held my Class 1 licence for over a year in the UK, I was eligible straight away to take the HC test, as there is usually no direct entry into articulated driving. You have to start with the rigid. But because I'd held my Class 2 and my Class 1 for over a certain period of time, I was exempt from the waiting period. However, in order to take a HC test straight away, you need to go on the government website and provide proof to the Australian government of the weight limitations of your vehicle, so they can see you've driven vehicles over a certain weight, which would make you eligible to drive the Class HC, which is the UK equivalent to Class 1. Step 3, finding a truck school and getting your lessons and test booked. So for yourselves who've been driving Class 1 for over a year anyway, it's nothing new. There's a few little differences, but nothing too major. And it should essentially be a walk in the park. The main challenges will be obviously learning Australia's roads and the differences to the UK. But my experience so far is it is a lot easier to drive trucks in Australia than the UK, due to the roads just being fit for purpose. And as all truck drivers know in the UK, a lot of roads aren't designed for the trucks that we drive. So HC test day, very similar to the UK. After you've took your lessons, on the day of the test, you arrive at the centre after usually an hour or two lesson beforehand with your instructor. You get taken out by an examiner. They examine you for an hour to an hour and a half on sort of set test routes. You have to do an uncoupling, recoupling, a straight line reverse, so a bit easier than the blind side into cones in the UK, and an uncoupling and recoupling. If you pass, which very luckily I did on my first time, they will offer you your HC driving licence, and they'll give it you in paper form whilst you wait for your card to be delivered. And the good news is, if you've been driving Class 1 for over a year in the UK, which you will be if you're already taking your HC straight away, you are instantly eligible for the MC upgrade course, which is in Queensland, not another test, it's just a day's course, and then a certificate you provide to the Department of Transport. Okay, so now you've got your MC licence. Here's a photo of me on my MC course day. I did it again with the Cairns School of Trucking. Amazing. My trainer, Michelle, absolutely lovely, really good teacher. I struggled a little bit with the reversing. It's a lot to get used to, and the length of the vehicle, but you know, once you sort of get going, you're all right. And it's one of those things, as it is with Class 1, learn on the job kind of deal, really. So, in terms of finding a job, now, if you want to stay for the full 3 years in Australia, you need to complete something called regional work, which is 88 days work in selected industries throughout the country, which makes you eligible to apply for your second year visa. So you can truck drive in mining or agriculture. So sort of like carting iron ore in mines to ports through the outback, or you can do agriculture, sort of like taking sugar canes, which is big up in Queensland, in the north of Queensland, the far north, or cotton, grain carting, which is sort of like tipping in the UK, and various other agricultural methods of transport. So if you want to stay for more than 1 year, which I would recommend if you are truck driving because you've spent the money on your licenses, find an eligible job for your 88 days. In terms of actually finding a job, Facebook, I recommend Facebook. There's MC and HC, rural and remote jobs. There's so many big groups on Facebook where people put vacancies on, and I recommend just uploading a couple of pictures about yourself, explaining your background, explaining what you're looking for, and people will get in contact with you, and you can see people you like and send them your CV and emails across. And yeah, you won't be short of work whatsoever, and it's really interesting, and obviously the country is so vast, you will see so much of it, and it is a really great way to see Australia in the way that tourists usually wouldn't. This brings me to the end of my first video. Thank you very much for watching. I'm going to upload a Word document step by step of what I've gone through today, just in case you guys want to have it in written form. But yeah, thanks very much for watching. Hit that subscribe button and follow my Instagram. Thank you very much for watching, and I can't wait to show you day-to-day life as a road train driver. Thank you very much.
No, I'm shutting it down when I pop out. Riding downtown with the top down. Sun's got everybody out now. Yeah. Riding with my girls looking so good. Playing my song, feeling so good. Only good vibes in my book.